Yep. We're going to talk about area, volume, and density, and how to write your units correctly on those types of answers for our remaining time today. Now, everybody in here should remember how to find area, volume, and density from another science class. Now, the question is, do you remember how to write your units on your answer, which is the part we want to talk about today? Now, if I asked you the formula for area, I would be willing to bet you everybody in here could tell me the area. That's right. Area equals length times width. So, if you had a lovely little rectangular square, let's just say we had a rectangle and it was 4 centimeters by 2 centimeters. Everybody in here would tell me the area is what? Yeah. However, in physical science class, you're not getting credit for that answer because you haven't put a what on the answer. That's right. So, we need to put the correct unit on there. So, area equals 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters. And the answer of 8 is only half of the answer. Now, what is x times x in math class? What do y'all get when you say x times x? That's right. So, when we have a centimeter times a centimeter in physical science class, I heard somebody back there yell, but I don't know who. They said we get a centimeter squared. Now, anything that has a square on it is area. Okay? Anything that has a square is area. That's how you know it's an area. So, when we calculate area, and you have a centimeter times a centimeter, you have to remember to write the square on the unit. Just like you would in math class when you say x times x or y times y, and you get a square on it. Because if you just write a centimeter and you don't put the square on it, you lose points. Because a centimeter is a length. We didn't calculate a length, we calculated an area. Now, fortunately, area is not a big thing that we use in physical science. The next two are the things we use a lot, which is volume and density. Now, when you learned area, probably guessing 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in that range, your teacher taught you about volume. And they added to area, so they told you added a piece. So what's the piece they added to area to find volume? It's the little piece they added.
Base.
Okay, that's one way to say it. Typically, you would say base if you were doing a triangle, though. Yeah. Let's just think about a cube. So if I change this, so if I have it, and I draw a regular cube. And I can't draw, so you just have to bear with me this semester. All right, and I have a regular cube. What would I need in order to find the volume of the cube? Let's just say this is 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters by 2 centimeters. That's it. So volume equals length times width, which is like area, but then times height. We add in the height, which is the base piece that we typically refer to when we talk about a triangle. Now, this time, when we go to calculate our answer, tell me how my answer is going to be different. That's exactly right. 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. And I think that was DeAndre's voice I heard. All right, centimeter times centimeter times centimeter. Did y'all hear what DeAndre said? What's going to happen when I say centimeter times centimeter times centimeter? It's going to be cubed. That is what he said. Okay? So, anytime you have something that's cubed, Cubed tells us it's volume. So squared tells us it's an area. Cubed tells us it's a volume. So if you think back to something I said yesterday, I told you that we were going to solve word problems. And that formula sheet I showed you yesterday, I said we're going to have to learn how to plug in all those formulas. You don't have to memorize them. You got to learn to plug in. So if you can figure out what number goes where in a formula, you can learn how to solve. So if you know it's a squared number, you know it's an area. If you know it's a cubed number, you know it's a volume. That's why it's so important to learn the units. Sometimes y'all are going to read a problem and y'all are going to be like, I don't know what they're talking about. But if you could go, oh, that's an hour. Hours is a what? What did we learn hours was yesterday? It's a time. You can figure out, oh, that goes in the time place in the formula. You don't necessarily have to know what the problem's talking about if you know where to plug it in at. Okay? So that's why I want you to learn the units. Now, volume can then be used to find density, which best guess talked about in 6th grade, maybe 5th grade. Whoops. Go back. Who remembers what density is? Density hertz? Oh, the bell. All right, it's
water when something is in it. I mean, wait, the liquid when something is in it. I'm not sure.
not quite. What'd you say?
Space those people.
It's got to do with space.
The space in between the two space items?
I mean,
Not quite.
that's not space and matter.
It has to do with space.
The space that.
It's got another word we got to have, aside from just space.
Space.
The space in
It's
matter.
got volume, and I heard another word that's important.
Area.
Not area,
Mass.
mass. All right.
Man.
It's defined as mass per unit of volume. Now, volume is all that space y'all were talking about. How much space an object takes up or how much space it has is volume. Now, you might remember the formula for this, which is D equals M over V. And we're going to talk about it very shortly. Now, I'm hoping that y'all might remember just a tad about density. Let's just say for a second that we put two liquids in here. We put some water and some oil in this lovely glass or beaker. Okay? Which one's more dense?
Water. The oil was denser than water.
Okay? Which one's going to sink? The one that's more dense and the one that's less dense? The one that's more dense always sinks. Okay? The one that's more dense always sinks. Okay? Less dense. Sure, I've got nothing better to do with my time. What am I filling out?
It's just the thing for national.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Stick it over there.
I'll be back.
Okay,
I'll come tomorrow.
sounds fabulous. All right, so anything that's less dense is going to float. Anything that's more dense is always going to sink. So when you go to get something later this afternoon, let's say you get thirsty on the way home and you stop at McDonald's. And you get a soft drink. Where's the ice going in your drink?
Bottom, top, to top.
So what do you know about the ice?
I fill up cups every day.
Exactly. So what's going to happen to the ice? It's going to the top, right? So what do you know about the ice?
It's less dense.
It's less dense.
And if they have the same amount of density,
Dang, it could've been
mix, right?
Mm-hmm. They're going to mix if they have the same density. So when you get, let's just say you buy an Italian salad dressing. All right. Italian salad dressing is going to do what when it sits in the refrigerator?
It's gonna start
It's
separating.
going to separate. So what do you know about the density of those things that it's made of?
The balsamic is much.
The balsamic vinegar is gonna do what? The vinegar is going to the bottom, the oil's going where? To the top. And so before you can put it on your salad or whatever you wanna do with it, you've gotta do what? You gotta shake it up. All right, same thing, any of y'all drink orange juice? What do you always do with the orange juice? Gotta shake it up. Oh, you don't shake it up? All right, but the pulp or the concentrate always sinks to the bottom because it's more dense than the water. It separates. Anything that separates like that has stuff that's more dense than the other stuff it's made of. The things that are more dense will separate out and sink to the bottom. Okay? When you go swimming at the beach, that sand and all the stuff that's in the water is more dense. It will sink to the bottom. It gets stirred up because of the wave action. Now, we want to be able to calculate with these things. So let me pull up a couple sample problems of how to do that. So DeMarco can't make fun of my handwriting. Stop with the water sound. It's incredibly irritating.
That's it. Somebody the faucet on.
The faucet is not on. It does not make that sound.
Hey, that's telling.
Why do they do that on TV? On shows, so you watch that channel.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, we ain't saw that. Yeah, let's go home.
That's not even standard English.
It's the same thing.
No, we ain't saw that.
It's the same thing.
So, what is the density of a rock and wood with mass of 25 grams?
Now, what is it asking you to solve for? Now, I recommend you write a couple of these down simply because you're not going to have notes to be able to study down the road if you don't write them all down. Now, do I recommend you write every single problem down?
Yes.
Of course not. I wouldn't write them all down, but I'd write a couple down so you have something to refer to.
That's true, maybe.
Now, the reason that I want to do this one is simply to talk about the units. For some of you who are really good at math, this is going to be so super simple, you're going to think, oh my God, this woman is actually showing me how to do this. Some of you are going to be, oh my God, I don't know how to do this at all. And some of you are going to fall in the middle. So for those of you who are in the, oh my God, I can't believe she's showing us how to do this, I need you to exert some patience and be kind to your fellow classmates who are going to struggle. For those of you who are struggling, you might have to come get some help if after we do this in class, you're still, what is she talking about? Okay?
Oh, no.
So, I don't care who you have. Now, if we look at the question, what are we solving for? What are they asking you for? Find the question word. I always teach word problems the same way. You're solving for density. So, the formula is D equals M over V. All right? We're solving for D. That means we got to have M and V given to us, right?
Yeah, we have 45 over 15.
So 45 grams is the what? The mass. I'm going to come back to that. Now, am I always going to have the colors highlighted in the word problems? Of course not. This is just for instructional purposes today. This one says volume of 15 milliliters. Sometimes the question will say the volume is 15. The mass is 45, just like this question. But suppose it didn't say that. What do you notice at the end of each number? You see how it says ml? See how it says grams? That's why we spent all day yesterday talking about what? Units and grams. So that when you saw a G or a grams, you would know it was a what? A mass. When you saw milliliters, you would know it was a volume. That's the reason we spent all day yesterday doing that, and we have a quiz on it tomorrow. So, how would you calculate this now that we have this plugged in? You would just divide.
Divided by 15
is 3. Now,
What would be the
now, the unit is why we're working this question. Do grams or milliliters have anything in common?
No.
So they're not going to cancel each other out. So we have to write both units. So when we write the answer, we write grams divided by milliliters. This is one of the few that has to keep both units. Some will not keep both units. This one has to keep both. Does that make sense? Because in the next one, I'm going to show you one where it cancels out. Everybody with me? All right. Let's try one where something's going to cancel. What is the mass of an object with a volume of 60 and a density of 4 grams per milliliter?
So don't we have to do the opposite?
Okay.
Since that's
I don't know what it
grams
was.
and
So, what are they asking you to find in this question?
milliliters.
All right. Again, find the question word. We're looking for mass. D equals M over V. I'm solving for mass. So I got to have D and V. What's my density? Find the word density, and density is what? Density is 4. What's my volume?
16.
Now, notice I didn't put any units in this.
Don't you multiply it?
The reason I didn't put any units in this is hopefully to make it a little cleaner to find your answer. Now, this is where I said those of you who have great math skills, solve it any way you like. If you want to multiply by the inverse, the reciprocal, whatever word your math teacher used that you were like, yeah, I know what I'm doing it their way, knock yourself flat. Now, those of you whose math skills suck, I only solve it one way. This is a fraction, so the only way you will hear me solve is cross multiply. It's the way that I think is the easiest way to get rid of a fraction. All right? This is a fraction. 4 times 60 is 240. 1 times m is m. Okay? And now we have gotten rid of the fraction. Okay? Now, from there, check your units. Up here on the problem. Do they have anything in common? So what do you suppose is going to happen to those milliliters when we cross multiply? They're going to cancel out. The mLs are going to cancel each other out. So it's only going to be grams. Exactly. I'm so sorry. Careful stretching before you knock the graduated cylinder off. All right. Can we try one more and see if you can do it? It was right behind you when your arms were going back. Think you can do one and try it on your own? See what you can get, and then we'll go over it together? See if y'all can do that.
I knew it was funny.
This one has a little more to it. If you can try that one and do it yourself. What?
Have you seen that new cereal they got? Well, I don't know if it's new, but
What cereal?
it's called Booty.
No.
You ever seen it?
No.
The cereal really called Booty.
I have not seen it, but I have not tried.
You ever been to FYE? Oh, what?
No.
I thought
Yeah, I have been to FYE, but I have not tried.
You talking about the cereal that was on?
Yeah, they got like
mom?
Huh? Yeah.
Oh my god, I saw that cereal. I went there the other day to buy 2
They got
shirts.
like-
They have
like
videos, I
family.
promise you.
Like
Thanks.
family.
I think that's
I'm gonna shave it for class. It's the same booty.
I was gonna buy it too, but I feel like that. Well, I feel like it's booty on.
Like cereal.
Okay.
They play like what?
Booty.
Oh.
Nah.
Okay, you can show me at the end of class what they look like.
I gotta leave.
Well, I said at the end of class.
After this problem.
All right, work this problem. You can show me what cereal looks like.
So booty goes.
I'm not sure I want to know.
No, that is not homework.
I won't take that. Come on, Chris.
I ain't had homework.
It's because you ain't been to school in a minute.
I ain't had homework when I was.
I don't give it often.
Second day of school. Oh,
I try not for more than once a week.
are you sure? That's a lot. Once every 2 weeks. Once every
Try
2
like for not more than once a week. All right, so what are we solving for? Okay. So what's my density?
It's just
What's my mass?
Like 35.
All right, we're looking for volume. So what should I do to get volume? I agree. So if we're cross multiplying, what do I get? 2.4 times V is 2.4 V. What's 1 times 35? Okay. So how do I get V by itself?
You subtract 6.5.
How do y'all get out of math class? What's this mean? Is that multiplied or is that divided?
Divided.
It's multiplied, so we got to divide. So we divide by 2.4,
When it cancels out.
and we divide by 2.4.
Sure, let's get it.
So 35 divided by 2.4.
Now you want to know.
17.
That sounds about right.
Y'all doing like crazy.
1458.
I did it wrong. And just round off to one place behind the decimal for this class. 14.5. All right, just round to one place behind the decimal for this class. 14.5 is fine. Now, check your units up there. You got a gram. You got a gram over centimeters cubed. What's going to happen?
The grams are going to cancel out, so it's
That's
going to
right.
be centimeters cubed.
Very good. Now, I've got 118, which means we've got about 2 minutes for homework. I want you to do 1 through,
These bootios look like you're throwing.
I want you to do 1 through
Three.
9. I
I
really want 1 through 12. I can live with 1 through 9.
Nasty,
Bro,
I don't believe I'm going to be getting any serious from booty.
you know the three dudes.
Really good
Boy, you know that's a dog. What you gonna do? Make you rush? Everybody want to take the booty.
I know.
I be on this face. Hey, look, remember that hat?
They don't look very healthy.
They do.
I gotta go have blood work this afternoon. I don't think my doctor would be impressed if I told her I ate some bootios before I could have blood
You
work.
don't like that.
like,
There you go.
y'all sit down. Hey,
That video
You have to memorize.
You gotta like, that's my God.
I was in last year.
We have to memorize the seasons and the.
I know how it goes.
I'll
I'll make you.
And then we have to figure out like three.